life's a gamble, I roll dice. Bet against me, I roll twice. I done beat the odds my whole life. I said I'm ready for greatness.
Shit, Dave.
Welcome back to our Thomas Podcast. I am your host, Damian Jackson, me and the AI, and Neo. She's over there. You can't see her. She's in the chair. Let's get into this. So on today's episode, I just want to talk about, since we got the whole immigration thing going on, every couple of years, it becomes a hot topic because new president and deportation and things like that, because all the presidents do the same thing as far as deportations go. We have the LA riots. We have riots in LA, protests in LA because of immigration. You have people waving a flag of another country as a protest about being taken back to that country when they want to stay in this country. You will never make it make sense because it's completely illogical, right? It's just emotional. It's just, hey, I feel I want to fight something, and this is something that I feel like fighting. You can talk about far as how people are being taken out, homes or schools, whatever. They're being separated from their parents, things like that. That's part of it. You take that risk when you try to get into someone else's country. You have the whole thing going on in Israel. I shouldn't say the whole thing. Attacks. The attacks going on between Israel and Iran, rather. You want Iran, or Iran wants to have nuclear weapons? They're like, Israel got them. I think Pakistan and India may have them, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Iran looking like, hey, everybody around me got them. Why I don't have them? And people say, well, you're a terrorist country. You're a horrible country. Meanwhile, Israel is not a horrible country, but Israel seems to be bombing a bunch of people. But, we're not going to say too much of it because, anti-Semitic, you can't really say too much about it. But it brings up a good topic of discussion. What is a country? What is this imaginary concept that we want to put together? Now you can look at the legal definition, all the many different definitions, but for the most part, a country is a place in which it has a government or some type of ruling system. Could be a monarchy where you have your kings and queens, something like that, parliament, whatever, right? They have some type of government system in place. They have borders, natural and imaginary. Natural in the sense of rivers, lakes, bodies of water, mountain ranges, things like that. But a lot of it is just made up shit as we make up a map and we say, hey, this map, according to me and the people that run with me and the government institution that we created, we made this line here. And in this line, we're saying this is where our country lives. And the people that live in our country are our citizens in this government, in this infrastructure in which we created. We really have to think about what a country is and why do we align ourselves with it. You can throw in the fact that people tend to believe countries have certain philosophical ideologies. In America, we like to believe that land of the free, right? Even though you can't walk out your house without possibly breaking a law. All types of laws. And you say, wait, what do you mean? What laws am I breaking in my house? A lot of y'all stream shit, right? Y'all illegally stream certain shows, movies, UFC events, breaking the law. There's so many different laws that you possibly are breaking. Jaywalking, one of the most easiest ones to break. People do it all the time. Nobody wants to wait for a crosswalk to cross the street. They just want to cross the street whenever they feel like it. So you have that. paying taxes, all these different things that is involved with being an American citizen. And people that are in the country going about these same type of ideologies and these philosophies where freedom of speech, right? Freedom to private, your privacy or whatever, your private property rights, the right to bear arms, right? The Second Amendment, things like that. You go to another country and the laws and everything can be completely different. But it makes you wonder. No country really on this planet, Earth, has the laws in which you are particularly aligned with perfectly. Of course, there's nothing perfect, so scratch that. Think of a country that in which you want to actually live in based on the way you want to live your life. Nothing really comes close to it. So you really have to just go through the process of elimination to see which one is better than the other. For me, I'm born in America, but I look at other countries and I'm like, no really other place I'd rather be right now. But I got my eye open because maybe I want to be a free agent and I want to, not give up the citizenship, but possibly add on to it. And if I decide to do that, if I decide to go to another country and I want to be in that country, well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm probably going to follow their laws, their rules, their regulations. Because why would I want to go about being in that country if I got to be sneaky about it? That's just the reality of it. But this whole concept of a country, people want it, but they don't actually want it. Because here in America, we don't want to let just anybody come in, but at the same time, what are we protecting? The government in DC? Your local and state government? Or are you protecting them because you pay taxes into the infrastructure? So you don't want people that don't pay any taxes or don't put any money into the pot to benefit from the money in which you're putting in? That's selfish when you think about it, and it is. But that's your right to be. And I don't blame you. Part of me feels the exact same way. But you see where the border as far as America goes, Texas, California, and whatever other states there are, that borders along Mexico. And we're sitting there, and realistically, it's all the same land, right? It's all the same land. But because you cross some border that they placed up, imaginary, physical, natural, created, man-made, it doesn't matter. People accept it, and then you cross one line, you're in a whole different place, and you go by different laws and rules. You cross another line, you're in a whole different place, go by different laws and rules. Funny thing is, we're all on the same fucking planet together. Now, I'm not necessarily pushing towards one world government. I'm not necessarily saying that we all need to walk and talk and have the same mindset, whatever. I'm just saying, what's the point of this country stuff when we're all stuck on the same planet? We don't necessarily need to have a country. I talked about it before, and I'll say it again. Autonomous society. I put my manifesto out there. Follow the links in my bio, my page, wherever it's at. Send you to my Reddit. It's DJack2222 or D_Jack2222. I can't remember. But it's time that we start to reevaluate and rethink what a country is and what do we want to live as far as, well, how we live, as far as our civilization goes. Because what are we actually protecting? We care about our borders. We don't want certain people crossing over. But for what reason? Why? Because they'll bring criminality, right? Criminals, people breaking laws and things like that. But we have people in this country that break laws and they're citizens. So are we going after a certain mindset? This whole country concept in which we're trying to have, there's what? I think it's like 250 something, if I'm not mistaken, recognized countries by the UN and other, America and China and whoever else, Europe and stuff that recognize these countries. That's a lot of countries. That's a lot of countries. Most people probably can't name 10. And out of those 10, most of them after that, are irrelevant to you. They really don't matter. So we got all these different countries all over the place, all these different things. But for the most part, fundamentally, at our core, in the human species, we all pretty much have the same mindset going on. I don't fuck with you. You don't fuck with me. I don't try to take your stuff. You don't try to take my stuff, right? I want to use these resources. You want to use these resources. We don't necessarily need to hold it all to ourselves. And then you say, well, some of us want to hoard more than others. Well, we know who those entities are, those corporations and stuff. But yet, those corporations can't really exist without governments, without laws, without countries. So the system in itself in which we are participating in is not that it's an imperfect system. There is no perfect system. We don't want that. But it's completely out of balance. And it's not meant to be in balance because it's not a system in place in which cares about those things. No system on this planet really does. Because as long as you have a country and you have a government and you have a flag and all this other stuff, it's about protecting this philosophical, metaphysical institution. Think about it. I pledge allegiance to the flag. That's like a cult, right? Just call it what it is, man. It's a cult. Certain principles to the republic for which it stands. To the republic. Republic. The fact that we can have these immigration laws, the fact that we can have all these things in place and people still be mad about it, or people still feel so strongly that they're willing to die and defend it. You have to question, where's the logic? What does this actually do for the human species, for humanity? How do we live and thrive on a planet in which, for the most part, we're all stuck here together? Why are we concerned about borders and countries when we're stuck on one planet together? Y'all really got to think about that. There's times where I just sit there and I'm just like, damn. You got America worry about this. You got China worry about that. You got United Kingdom, England, whatever they got going on over there. They worry about that. Japan, this, and India, Israel, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, South America, Nigeria, Kenya, like all these different countries, right? All worry about different things, resources, stuff like that. But when you think and pay attention to it, it's government. It's government. What is a country? A government institution creating its borders. That's really what a country is. Whatever ruling entity, not necessarily taken by force, but for the most part, given up by us regular everyday people, giving up that power to allow a certain institution to say, hey, this is our country. You want to be a part of this and what we got going on? Follow these rules and laws. If you don't want to be a part of it, leave. Meanwhile, you just want to get up and live your life. Take care of you and your family, the people that you love. That's it. Do we need a country for that? Do we need a government for that? Why are we so focused on these countries, these concepts of what they're telling us a country is, when we should be focused on the economic system in which we want to partake in, the monetary system, whether we want to even have a monetary system, paying attention to the resources that are abundant, get out of the scarcity mindset. Nothing good will ultimately come out of this whole my country, your country. There will always be somewhat of an opposing force. When the reality is, we need to all sit down and discuss how will we utilize these resources on this planet in which we're all stuck here together. Until they give us access to the technology and some spaceships and shit, and then we all decide to go off somewhere else. But until then, we're stuck here. So we got to shift our mindset away from this whole country thing. Your flag, that flag, they have nuclear weapons. We're going to protect our borders, our people, your people, my people, one race, one species, humanity. Stuck here together. But why do I need to be concerned about your skin tone and what language you speak and what part of the earth you're from? Because you're still on that earth. As long as we are stuck in this mindset, we will always fight each other, right? One country, another country, another country. It's inevitable that we will have an opposing mindset towards each other. Communism, capitalism, socialism, bunch of isms. They like to explain to us what the difference is, but as you look at it, it just still all pretty much seems the same. What you think of as capitalism is not actually capitalism. In its true essence, in its true core, capitalism does not exist. I say this often because the only way for capitalism to exist is if there is a free market. A free market cannot exist if you have government control or government influence. I don't think a country exists where capitalism in its purest form exists because, well, if there's a country, there's a government or some type of governance, some type of government body that is laying out different rules, laws, regulations. Sometimes people want to create a country based on their religious preference, which is kind of contradictory. I've been having trouble with that word lately. I don't know why. But if I'm religious, Hebrew, Islam, Christianity, Hindu, whatever, I should be focused on that as opposed to concerned about setting up a country. God's favorite people need to have their own land, and that land that they have needs to expand and expand and expand for all of God's chosen people to live there. Doesn't sound pretty righteous, does it? Sounds kind of selfish. Sounds kind of egotistical, narcissistic tendencies. Doesn't sound like it's very loving or concerned about the next person. So as we continue to move forward in this evolution of the human species, the concept of what a country is and why we should continue to move forward with this is going to have to evolve. I say it should dissolve. Man, mess that up. It should definitely dissolve because it's very limiting to who we are as a species. It's limiting. We feel as if we're so different from each other because your flag is one way and my flag is another way, even though majority of the flags all use the same colors, red, white, and blue. that's interesting, are red, are black, are white, are green, yellow, gold. So everybody's trying to pick damn near the same colors for their flags. So everyone has a flag representing their country and stuff, representing their ideologies and pride and everything. And I get it, right? I'm the same way. When the Olympics come around, I'm like, hey, man, yeah, America, America. Because in that sense, it's a sporting event, right? It's team. It's friendly. It's competitive, but it's not fucking that serious. But once we start talking about immigration, once we start talking about war, once we start talking about fighting over this land, once we start talking about, oh, your guy is in that country, then it becomes destructive. It doesn't really help anybody. As long as we have these countries, we're going to have immigration issues. We're going to have issues about the border. It will never be humane in someone's eyes to physically remove someone from one place to another. It's not going to be humane. There's nothing you can do about that. Because you choose to accept these concepts in which they're throwing at us. A country, man, is outdated. It's outdated. We just should focus on economic, monetary systems, resources, things of that nature. Private property rights. If I have something and I lay claim to it, leave it alone. It's that simple. Like we don't need no religious figure. We don't need no government. We don't need no one to dictate that for us. This is mine. I have it. Please don't touch it. I lay claim to it. If you want to try to come and take it, well, be prepared to defend your life because I'm going to defend mine. That's fair because majority of people don't actually want to deal in conflict like that. Majority of people do not. What we see in violence and things on the news, social media, TV, we're still talking about 0.0000000 whatever percent of the population. Majority of people do not want those problems. Majority of people don't even want to sit there and argue face to face or debate anything because majority of people just want to be left alone and go about their day. But these topics will continue to come up. Oh, is this president is this president is that, this president is ruining the country, that president is ruining the country, this president is messing it up, this blah, blah, blah. Oh, look, this queen died, that king died. Oh, what happened? Assassination attempt. They took down this leader, that leader. All these things happen with the people around the government body of a country, but you, the everyday person, still goes on living their life. It's just time to have a conscious shift. That's it. What is a country? You know what? Let's just get rid of it. I'm out.
Life's a gamble, I roll dice. Bet against me, I roll twice. I done beat the odds my whole life. I said I'm ready for
Talking
greatness.
shit, dang.